Prime Minister Narendra Modi's whirlwind campaign for Lok Sabha across the country continues. Prime Minister's campaign is centered around a three-pronged agenda, which I call TRISHUL, of national security, cultural Hindutva, and Labharathi politics. This is the TRISHUL that has emerged in campaign. The Prime Minister asserted that a strong government at the center has strengthened India's national security. He reiterated that now India chases terrorists and kills them in their dens. The Prime Minister also took a dig at the Congress and said under a weak government the country suffers and the enemies take advantage. He also attacked the previous Congress governments for being unable to provide equipment and bulletproof jackets to the soldiers, while at the same time highlighting India's self-reliance and investment in the defense sector. Let's listen in to the Prime Minister.
जब जब देश में कमजोर और अस्थिर सरकार रही है, तब तब दुश्मनों ने फायदा उठाया है। जब भारत में कमजोर और अस्थिर सरकारें थी, तब भारत में आतंकवाद ने पैर पसारे। आज भारत में मोदी की मजबूत सरकार है, इसलिए आतंकवादियों को घर में घुसकर मारा जाता है।
The second issue that the Prime Minister has constantly underscored is the cultural Hindutva push. Narendra Modi targeted the Congress and India bloc over skipping the Ram Mandir's Pran Pratishtha and questioning the existence of Lord Ram. He said that the Congress is against India's culture and heritage, and he vowed to destroy the Shakti. PM's strategic messaging aligns with the rival, and I would say revival, of Hindu pride and preservation of India's cultural identity.
कांग्रेस विकास और विरासत दोनों की विरोधी है। उत्तराखंड का कोई निवासी ये नहीं भूल सकता कि कांग्रेस ने प्रभु राम के अस्तित्व पर सवाल उठाए हैं। ये कांग्रेस ही है जिसने पहले राम मंदिर का विरोध किया। जितने अड़ंगे डाल सकते थे डाले, अदालत में भी रुकावटें करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन राम मंदिर बनाने वालों ने कांग्रेस के सारे गुना माफ करके उनके घर जाकर के उनको निमंत्रण दिया। लेकिन इनका दिमाग कैसा है पता नहीं, घर जाकर के निमंत्रण दिया गया था, प्रभु राम के प्राण प्रतिष्ठा का अवसर था, उन्होंने उसका भी बहिष्कार कर दिया। कांग्रेस ने प्रण लिया है, सार्वजनिक रूप से घोषणा की है कि हिंदू धर्म में जो शक्ति है उसका विनाश करेंगे। ये कांग्रेस शक्ति स्वरूपा मां धारी देवी, मां चंद्रबदनी, मां ज्वालपा देवी की शक्ति को खत्म करना चाहती है। उत्तराखंड की आस्था को तबाह करने की जो साजिशें चल रही है, उसमें कांग्रेस की ये बातें आग में घी का काम करेगी। उत्तराखंड की संस्कृति की रक्षा करना हम सभी का दायित्व है। आपको भूलना नहीं है ये वही कांग्रेस है जो कहती रही है कि हर की पौड़ी में वो मां गंगा के किनारे पर हर की पौड़ी नहीं है। ये क्या कहते हैं, एक नहर के किनारे बसी है। अब ये गंगा जी के अस्तित्व पर सवाल उठा रहे हैं। इन्हें उत्तराखंड के लोग सबक सिखा करके रहेंगे।
So these are the first two strands. The first strand is of the national security, Ghar mein ghus ke marenge. The second strand is the cultural Hindutva. You heard Prime Minister articulating the two strands. The third bite, I'll play it after the break, and that will be about the Labharathi politics. And on this issue, I'm joined by KV Prasad, senior journalist, Dr. Anil K. Verma, political analyst, and Major General Ashwani Sivach. I'll straight away go to General Sivach. General Sivach, when Prime Minister says Ghar mein ghus ke marenge, hasn't defense become a prominent theme, or national security become a prominent theme in elections? And how do you look at it, Ghar mein ghus ke marenge? Can it have a bearing on India's foreign and defense positions? Because there was a Guardian article which came, and then the Rajnath Singh said. So there are two aspects, ramifications and correctness. To you.
Very correct. See, as far as in 2008, when there was a Mumbai attack which had taken place, the whole country was paralyzed for 48 hours. Our decision making was not knowing what exactly we need to do. The terrorists have come from Pakistan. They have attacked the financial capital of the country. And our reaction was not that robust as it should have been. But just imagine what happened in Uri. In 2014, when in Uri, the terrorists had come and attacked, immediately there was a surgical strike, and almost 35 to 40 launch pads were destroyed in Pakistan. Number of terrorists were killed, including certain serving personnel. Now, that was the first message which was sent to Pakistan. It is not going to be as usual. In case you're going to create terrorism in India, we will come inside you and hit you where it hurts you. Then the Pulwama take place in 2019, and thereafter the response was Balakot. Our airstrike was conducted not in POJK, but in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, 90 kilometers deep inside in Balakot, and almost 300 Lashkar-e-Toba terrorists were completely neutralized, along with 50 the army soldiers. So the message was loud and clear that in case if you will create a terrorism in India, it is a change India. We will come and hit you where it hurts you. I suppose that was a very good message which we have sent it nice and proper. Now, I don't want to comment on this issue which has come in Garden, that the 20 terrorists which have been killed in Pakistan after 2020. Is India involved in that? I suppose that
General
has
Sivach.
more to...
General Sivach, why election rallies? A lot of critics would say that you are appropriating the military or the intelligence might. These are not the... Yes, political resolve is required, but ultimately it's statecraft. And statecraft is subservient to national interest. Statecraft is not subservient to political interests.
No, my point is that in case you do not have a strong will, a national character, then you will remain always a victim of terrorism. The point was that before this government had taken over, we were seen as a helpless nation. We were not able to respond to the Pakistan, and Pakistan was using a terrorism as a state instrument. And the moment we start striking back, the bogey of their nuclear weapon has also been exposed. So as on today, assuming that including these 20 terrorists which are killed in last about 4 to 5 years, though we are claiming that we have nothing to do it is basically done by ISI.
You are in agreement with the fact that the Prime Minister changed the tone and tenor of the policy, so it's okay if he says that in election rallies. I'm also joined by Mr. Prasad. Mr. Prasad, your comment on appropriation of statecraft.
Well, I think there are two aspects to what you said. One, of course, the Prime Minister giving a message that there is political resolve or the political will to deal with this strongly. That is what General Sawach just told us. And all of us know about it because we've been through this period. How much of it is to be played? Because the opposition has always been accusing the BJP in particular that it uses such occasions to kind of build upon itself on the might of the military. The whole country is absolutely proud of the fact that the Indian military is strong and always does stand for the nation. That is a fact. Now, why is it to be reminded? That's, of course, I think the political will is what probably is the pressure point that is being exerted to, and trying to compare. But this is all known in the sense the last 10 years this government has been in place. All this has played out before the people. So I think that's probably, yes, the fact that now you're showing in your screen, building upon the infrastructure, building upon the defense industry complex, that's a different aspect, which of course is a work in progress and something which began several years ago, but has hastened and picked up pace during this regime. I would leave it at that.
Okay. Dr. Verma, thank you so much for joining me on my show. Your opening comments?
Well, Kartikeya, you see, whenever you say defense and politics, I would not be, surprised because you see, ultimately, the entire security and defense aspect is within the domain of the government. And therefore, whenever something strong has to be done, the kind of response that we gave to Pakistan and lately to China and this eastern side, people have appreciated that. And obviously, on such issues, things become a little emotive. And whenever there are election rallies, the incumbent government necessarily tries to take advantage of all that. So I'm not surprised that the defense issue is coming into the political discourse at the moment in this election.
But a lot of critics would say that there's a difference, Yes, it's not as if the Congress has not used the defense issue. The coffin scam was a defense issue when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. The entire thing was on spotlight. It was part and parcel of the vocabulary. But to accuse one party of not serving national interest takes the ball game to a different level altogether.
That is a matter of interpretation, Kartikeya. Nobody would appreciate the things which were earlier there with Pakistan, and terrorists were, freely roaming around in the country and Pakistan doing whatever they wanted. So, you have to show that you have a resolve, you have a will to, take all these things in your stride and give a befitting response to if somebody is doing this kind of a disturbance in your border and harming your internal security and also the harmony in the country. So the strong reaction, you must have noticed that after that strong reaction, there has been a substantial reduction in the in such incidents on the western sector.
Okay, General Sivaj, do you feel that the Modi has made a difference when it comes to national security?
100%, no doubt about it. And you see, the difference is today you are a stronger nation. You are not only economically fifth largest economy, likely to come third, fourth largest military power. You are very clear in vision what need to be done as a nation. And now, as far as Pakistan is concerned, China is concerned, we are very clear that what action we need to take in case that Pakistan or China try to create any sort of confusion on our borders. I imagine in line of actual control, I was the Chief of Staff 14 Corps in Leh Ladakh in 12-13. The type of infrastructure which was that time and now is a sea change. Today there are a number of roads which have come up. There are bridges, logistic build-up next to the border, and the villages have become modernized. So today the weapon system which is there with the Indian Army, Air Force, Navy is a state of art. So your confidence is improved. Okay. Your motivation level has increased. So this has now rubbed on us, and today we pass it on to our adversary. The Pakistanis and Chinese know that this is a change India. It is a different India altogether. And my point is, what is changed maximum today is that the soldier don't have to look back to take orders. What need to be done as far as your adversary is concerned? I think that is a sea change.
So basically you're saying that the message has gone that it's not as if India will exercise the so-called strategic restraint which was imposed on the Indian strategic thinking by the West. So there is no strategic restraint, if you provoke, there will be a reaction. Yes, I agree. No, that's where I converge with you, and that's what happened in Balakot. Dr. Verma, in 2014 it was good governance. 2019 it was Balakot and national security. But this Trishul of Labharathi, national security, the cultural Hindutva stands in middle. Why this shift has taken place, though it was part and parcel of BJP's vocabulary, but it has become far more pronounced in the election process. Why? Can you unmute yourself?
I appreciate your nomenclature of Trishul. That looks very, interesting coinage. I mean, you see, as you rightly said, that this cultural Hindutva was never, created in this election or earlier election. It was very much is an old thing, is a integral ingredient of the BJP philosophy. And as we have already discussed earlier, the Article 3 of the BJP constitution very clearly relates cultural nationalism and integral humanism to their political ideology. So one thing that I would disagree is that it is not prominent only in this election. It has been always there. The second is that you see in the country, because of this Ram Mandir, Ram temple construction, there is a huge hype in the country and people are emotionally getting connected to the Ram temple. As you might have noticed, it has the visitors have surpassed even the most visited religious places in the world. So that in itself is a clear indication how from people all over the country, it's cutting across all north, south, east, west, everywhere you are getting a lot of pilgrims over there. That shows that people are emotionally connected to this concept of Ram. The Ram temples are there are so many temples all around, but because this birth of Ram, Lord Ram in Ayodhya and the Ayodhya temple which has come up, people have connected themselves to this religious, to this cultural revival, cultural nationalism. And nationalism, of course, is always there, but the very focus on the culture, because the kind of diversity that we have in the country, it is a riddle and a quiz for the entire humanity, that how people of so different religious and cultural and other denominations are coexisting in this country called Bharat. So this cultural nationalism has certainly become a focus not only of taking advantage in this election, but it has also become a very important, potent factor for futuristic the unity of India.
Okay, Mr. Prasad.
Yeah, Karthi, I would look at it in a manner that, look, you mentioned 2 points. If 2014 was all about performance, governance, was because the backdrop was policy paralysis, the backdrop of low performance of the UPA2 government, the performance which got mired in corruption, and so many issues that people got fed up. And at that point of time, the then BJP and Prime Minister, who became Prime Minister Modi, when he became Prime Minister before that, the whole campaign was that, look here, elect us, we'll give you a different government, we want to improve the economy, we'll deliver on certain goods, good governance. So I think that was the central point. 19, of course, was Pulwama, so the whole narrative got changed. It became nationalism, came to the forefront, and it became a different thing. Now, after 10 years in power, people have experienced the government, what it can do, what it has done. But yet, if you read, even today, this morning, there was a survey of one of the papers have carried about the economic distress, the kind of people are experiencing high costs, and if they're talking about it. Now, at that point of time, I think it will connect to the third point which you're going to bring, is the Labharathi scheme. So at this point of time, you have to remind people that go back to your basics. As you've said, cultural nationalism, Hindutva is one of the cards that they've always had to them. And why not play on which, especially in the year, Ram Temple consecration has taken place, and people are, so it's like just reminding people, look, this is what we can do. We have done this. Let's, obviously this election time, vote for us.
Okay, very well said. The third theme that the Prime Minister's campaign revolves around is Labharathi, or the welfare politics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pointed out that his government's policies have uplifted many from poverty and empowered women. He also talked about development that the country has witnessed in all spheres in the last 10 years, and even highlighted the abolition of triple talaq, abrogation of Article 370, and implementing the one rank, one pension scheme. He added that under the BJP government, India is witnessing unprecedented growth. He also laid emphasis on the infrastructure boost under the BJP government. But the fact of the matter is that the third part, the Trishul, cultural Hindutva, national security, and Labharathi, which is help to the last man standing in the queue. Let's play the bite.
देवभूमि में रोडवेज, रेलवेज, एयरवेज की लगातार सुविधा बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं। यहां ऋषिकेश कर्णप्रयाग रेलवे लाइन पर तेजी से काम चल रहा है। दिल्ली से देहरादून की दूरी भी सिमट रही है। उत्तराखंड के जिन सीमावर्ती गांवों को कांग्रेस अंतिम गांव कहती थी, भाजपा उन्हें देश का पहला गांव मानकर विकास कर रही है। आपने देखा होगा, मानस खंड के तीर्थ स्थानों जैसे आदि कैलाश, ओम पर्वत दर्शन के लिए हेलीकॉप्टर सेवाएं शुरू हो गई है। यमुनोत्री, केदारनाथ और हेमकुंड साहब में रोपवे बनने से बहुत सुविधा हो जाएगी। सड़क के रास्ते जो दूरी तय करने में कई घंटे लगते थे, उसे कुछ ही समय में पूरा कर लिया जाएगा।
So, Mr. Verma, would it be overstatement to say that the BJP have come a long way in which it has incorporated parts of the Congress politics, you know, this large affirmative action which was somehow, I would say, linked with the Congress style politics, 20-point program of 1970s, Indira Gandhi, Garibi Hatao, you know, that part has been absorbed by Bharatiya Janata Party into its own larger ideological framework, where you know, you can have spirited enterprise, but you can still have a large Labharathi net.
Kartikeya, as you rightly said, that this TRISHUL word, I am very much,
I think you have caught on to the word TRISHUL, but that's how I imagine my show. That's how I imagine my show. It's like a TRISHUL.
It's it's a holistic gamut of the entire thing, and the BJP is very clear on this, that only one thing will not do, because elections, ultimately the whole opposition, major opposition parties, they are pitted against the prime minister. So ultimately every party has a right, whether incumbent or the opposition, they have every right to play all their, cards. And what I think that this TRISHUL business is a very interesting thing.
Because
and
where does Kashi rest upon, sir?
Here the prime minister is trying to, amalgamate. I will say the word amalgamate. He's trying to, because in TRISHUL you are standing three things separately. But what he is doing is that he is trying to amalgamate not only the earlier things that we had discussed, cultural nationalism and the development, and what you had said, Labharathi. I mean, bringing out 80 crore people or serving 80 crore people, free ration, and giving them a guarantee that look, for the next 5 years or so, you are not going to face starvation. But what you are missing, TRISHUL, in this TRISHUL business, is that the Prime Minister is being terribly inclusive in his entire TRISHUL business, that no section of the society is excluded, whether it is Hindus or Muslims, whether it is Dalits or OBC. In fact, I will say that the Prime Minister has created a constituency which was earlier not known for the BJP. He has completely transformed the BJP constituencies, and by bringing in, four broad classes. The four broadest classes are the women, that is one class, the poor, that is the second class, the marginal farmers, that is the third class, and the youth, the startup and this and all this, the fourth class. By bringing in fourth class, he has blasted the caste calculus in the country, and that's a wonderful experience for the Prime Minister, for the TRISHUL to work very effectively.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Verma. Thank you so much, General Savach, and thank you so much, Dr. Verma.